It's a really special privilege to share with you today with some friends of mine that I've known for a long time. My name's Bob Moss. I'm the executive pastor here at First Church, and I have with me some dear friends who have been a part of First Church for a long time. In this series called Family Matters, we want to illustrate today how the church functions like a family. So I'm going to ask some questions and get our friends to introduce themselves to you and for you to know a little bit about their story of how they've experienced First Church as a family.
I'm Len Mensinger. I've been in this congregation since before I was in diapers, literally, for 9 months. And in June, that will be 90 years.
I've been a part of this congregation since 1961 when I married Don. Before that, I was part of a Church of God congregation in Ohio.
I'm Don Janke, and I've been a part of this congregation 9 months before I was born, which is quite some time.
I'm Connie Ferrier, and I have been part of this congregation for 64 years.
I'm Joe Ferrier. I am Miss Connie's husband. We met in this church back in 1968, got married, and we've been a member ever since 1968.
I'm Ren Baldwin, and my wife and I came to St. Joe Church right out of college, so I've been a part of First Church for 55 years.
How do you feel like the church has been central in your life's journey as a family?
I just can't imagine what life would be like not to have the friendship, the companionship, the fellowship of a church body.
The church has poured into every season of life. When we were newly married, the church was pouring in and supporting us. When we had children, didn't know what we were doing, the church was pouring into us. And so for every season, the church has been there to pour in, and it gives us a chance to pour back.
We were able to form with a number of other young couples something called the Mr. and Ms. Group. And we raised our kids together. It's been an integral part of our lives together.
And we had that same experience. Even as a pastoral couple, we raised our kids here. You know, I walked my daughters down the aisle to be married in this church. And so our kids experienced the youth group, they experienced the nurture of the church family, and it truly feels like a family to them even to this day. A pastor friend of mine said of his congregation, it's one church for all of life and every season of life. How do you see your role today as a part of the family of God?
I feel like my spot is to just be an encourager to young moms and just keep reminding them that what you're going through, you'll get through. And sometimes they'll turn and go, "You are so wise." No, I've been where you are,
Yes,
and
that's
I
right.
survived.
Yes.
So
That's right.
More recently, I have served as an usher. I love my job as an usher.
I've kind of found a new family in this Sunday school class. I look forward to Sunday, and I think it's because of family and the support and the encouragement that is just automatic here.
I'm fortunate. Each week I meet with a small group of other guys. Simply being there as a person who throughout my life have already gone through a lot of the things that they're going through now, you know, in their work life, in their parenting life, and so simply to be a person that can listen to them, and often I have an opportunity to share, experiences that I hope is imparting some wisdom to them.
Sure.
But I feel blessed to have that group to meet with.
I come in on Tuesday mornings with a couple of other fellows, and we do maintenance on this church. It's unlike the work world where you're sort of competing. Here we all support each other. And if you're retired and you're wondering what you can do with your time, hey, come see me, I'll give you a job.
we're all looking for a place where we're valued and where we belong, where we fit, if you don't have that feeling in your life, then come join the family.
There's a unity here that you're not gonna see in the rest of the world. And it's because of the church, because of our faith, our belief, that we are unified and there's love here.
In the journey of life, we all experience joys and we experience sorrows. We call them the major intersections of life. And maybe you can describe how the church family was a very important part of that major intersection you faced in your life.
My wife and I had only one child, and our daughter was dedicated here on Father's Day. All through her childhood and teenage years, the church was central in her life also. The church supported Phyllis and I as young parents in parenting. And then many years later, Phyllis passed away, and the church and the individuals in the church wouldn't have made it through without them.
I met my wife in this church. We got married in this church in 1954, and 50 years later, she was buried from this church. And as I say, the church has actually just surrounded me my whole life, and the support that we've received over the years has been wonderful.
So I want to share a story with you guys. It represents to me what it means to see the church as a family. When my kids were in the youth group, they were going to go to International Youth Convention, and everybody gathered in the gathering area outside the sanctuary in a big circle. We're going to have a prayer. So here's a guy shows up, and he's walking around greeting the kids, and it's Dr. Fred Schmidt, former superintendent of Lakeshore Schools. And so the kids are all kind of moving around, and finally I said, "Fred, what are you doing here at 5 o'clock in the morning?" And he answered this way. He said, when we do the baby dedication and we all stand up to say, "I'm going to support this family and raising their kids," well, this is kind of what it means to me to do that. And I got real weepy-eyed as a dad because I just thanked him. Thank you, Fred, for loving my family. But that's when the church really is a family, when those kinds of things happen. So I want to thank you guys for being a part of this conversation today. We could go on because we don't have any other things we really need to do today. So